Hey guys, welcome to Z's Comics Reviews number 29. We are really getting up there. Special holiday one. The only reason I'm saying it's a special holiday one is because we have a lot of holiday comics. But first of all, Two-Face. All right, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, so we're just going to hit the ground running. Okay, Two-Face number one. This one kind of came out of left field. I didn't like... Between FOC and me getting it was, I want to say, less than a month, which is very weird.
Okay. It had some previews in other comics from what I saw.
Yeah, it did have some previews in other comics, but like, it is a solid story. Okay. The Gotham underworld, the criminal gangs and all that stuff, they are trying to organize under, this, hey buddy. They're trying to organize under this, they call it the White Church, which is basically the courthouse for the underworld, for the Gotham City, like mob bosses, the gangs and all that stuff. And Two-Face, Harvey Dent, is trying to basically stem the tide of all the wanton violence and stuff like that. And this one right here, like the first case that he hears is like Victor Zsasz versus this guy in some big mob boss, right? Who claims that Victor Zsasz killed his friend, who may or may not be another mob guy.
Just check the number of scars.
That's actually a huge plot point of the issue. Yes. Because if you know Victor Zsasz, you know he like it's his whole. It's a religion to him. It's this whole like pathos,
almost like Killmonger type thing. How he says he's got.
Except Zsasz has a mental compulsion to do it, and that's actually one of his defense points. It's in the comic of that. It's really cool how that plays out, but like overall, the artwork is kind of like haphazard. It's I think that the art works in the story's favor. You know what I mean? So it's like the art itself is another piece of the story. Two-Face has some twists in his little character arc in here. How he wants to be legitimized and all that stuff, and it's a solid start. I give it a positive 3 out of 5. I would recommend picking it up, but at the same time, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I got to read what's next. You know what I mean? But definitely, if you're interested in Batman Rogues Galleries, if you're a Two-Face fan, you'll greatly enjoy this, I think. But yeah, moving on. Marvel's Holiday Tales to Astonish. This one is an anthology holiday special, and I do mean holiday special, not Christmas. They actually do have a couple different, some
Hanukkah, crazy nights.
It like I said, it's an anthology one. The first one follows the Fantastic Four with the classic. They have to foil the robbers from stealing people's toys, kind of thing, but with a Doom twist on it. So it's kind of cool, kind of neat, and I love when superheroes get portrayed in their downtime. Yeah, especially around the holiday stuff. It's really cool. It's really nice. Good job. And speaking of the Hanukkah portion of it, the second story in there actually follows Kitty Pryde's first Hanukkah with the X-Men, and Nightcrawler gifts her the menorah, right? The candle, the candle holder, the menorah, and it's on the first night of Hanukkah. So she's like, she's like really touched and stuff, and she wants to do something big for her new family. And that little section of it is her trying like hell to get to a store or somewhere in order to go shopping for the people in her life. You know what I mean? And at the end, it's all one of those classic. Well, I couldn't get to a store, so I made these kind of things, and it's very very cutesy, very classic, like the family or the friends we made along the way kind of thing. Third one is the Spider-Men portion of it. Miles and Peter. Miles is gonna have a really good, holiday with his girlfriend, but dang it, she's sick with the flu. So so he's gotta like pivot, and he ends up getting invited to this party. That gets rained on by Hydro Man, and things happen like the whole Spider-Man bad luck thing. It's not even the Parker luck anymore. It's Spider luck.
It's gone to all the spiders. Bro.
Yeah,
Gwen's going through it and her stuff.
Dude, that's one we didn't read this week. Okay, I know, right. And that came out this week. Yeah. All right, well, we might do it next week. I don't know, but yeah, honestly, I gave this one. I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well.
Okay.
Positive. It's very good if you like the cheesy holiday classic. You like Hallmark stuff with superhero twists in it. You're gonna like this one. Let me see. Moving on to Ultimate number 7. I don't know why I put both of them out. We'll do this one next.
On deck. Runner-up coming up.
Runner-up. All right, so first one, Ultimates number 7. Regale us.
Ultimates number 7. This one is dealing a lot with like the aftermath of that it's approaching the 1-year anniversary from like the start of the Ultimates line and all that, all the Ultimate Universe. Because this one, they're talking about the tragic accident that happened that like downed a lot of people because of I forgot what it was, but yes, like most of this issue
when Stark went,
when Stark went, did that was it. When Stark went nuts and destroyed a big building and all that, caused the untimely demise of numerous people, you know, and so they're dealing with that. They're also dealing with, and I think I'll go ahead and say this because it has been a while. These issues are getting released, like, you know, with good space between them. But the team itself is also dealing with the aftermath of the fact that Iron Lad, he ain't with him anymore. He got...
Oh, dang. He's straight up like...
He got...
Dang.
Well, I won't say that this next part just because that might be a bit of a spoiler. But yes, like, last issue that I said, like, oh, stuff went down because they had that fight against Hulk and all his people. Hulk straight up claps him in the hands and just can crushes him.
Oh man!
Like, they have his body, but you know they're dealing with that aftermath. You know, there's a lot of down things. You got each individual story of like Cap with well, he's on the cover, so I'll say it. You got Cap with OG Human Torch, like he's talking about how like, hey, I've just been put back together, and they have little good dialogue between them because he's telling him, Human Torch is telling Cap how like, bro. Because Cap's like, oh, I got this map. And he's like, do you have an actual map? Like a physical map, dude? Like, come on. We got... He's all like, come on. Everything's on the thing here. And I forget what he said, what exactly word he uses, but it's something all like, oh, he goes like, come on, man, you got to get with it. And he's like, I'm with it. And Cap's just like, no one says that anymore, dude. So you get little stuff like that, you know, because Cap's trying to like, because they're on a little walk to find this place that Cap remembered that was around when he was actually, you know, a teenager and all that. Just, there's that. You got a little story of Hank and Janet like going to the like little press conference they're having for the memorial that's going to take place for the 1-year anniversary.
Crossover with Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it's kind of like, it's starting to pick up things, you know? You get them talking about like Hank is really kind of down in the dumps because of the fact that he almost, like when I said they got waxed in the last issue, like they were getting waxed. Wasp was almost done for. So Hank's kind of really dealing with the fact that like, oh my gosh, I almost
the stakes are
wife.
real.
I almost watched my wife die. So you got that.
So this is an issue.
Doing stuff. Yeah, like it's a really like issue where it's just like, okay, let's kind of dial things back a bit.
So they're taking a beat.
People.
They're taking a beat to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
next.
kind of figuring out what's going on, setting things up because they're definitely setting things up for Sif and Thor. Like I was kind of telling him a little bit. I won't go too in detail on that, but it's just how like Sif and Thor are going to start going on to other things where you got new issues coming out, new Ultimate issue lines that have been announced, like Guardians of the Galaxy and a few others.
I think next week is Ultimate Universe 1 year in, and then next month in January, Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah. So like this one
starts up.
So like this one kind of like starting hinting at, okay, we're gonna be branching out a little bit more.
Ooh.
So it's nothing too crazy, you know, like I said, they take a step back, but the dialogue is good, the little stories are good. It's funny that it came out at a time that we're reading like a bunch of the like holiday issues, because it does kind of give that feel of like, oh, there's different stories taking place in this
Well, if you say it's the memorial that we saw in Ultimate Spider-Man, the last issue, what was it, 11?
Yeah.
Then it should be around end of November, early December kind of thing, right? Okay.
So yeah, like it definitely seems like you were getting people like getting more of these stories coming together, but also as Brent like telling you like, oh, just because these are coming together, we're gonna start giving you some of these other ones. So like it's nice. I'm gonna give it a good positive 3 out of 5 because like it's still not much happens, but the story in it is good. The art is still good. Character building is good too. So I'm still loving what they're doing with Hank because like I don't like douchey Hank that's normally.
Douchey Hank's been dead for like years.
But yeah, so like now that we're getting this like nice Hank Pym, it's pretty nice.
Random fact: I just got in the Avengers issue where he slaps her. And it's funny that you're like harping on Hank right now. I just got in that issue.
I forgot about that
funny.
One. Forgot about that one.
So a positive 3 out of 5 for Ultimates number 7. All right. So yeah, definitely a grab.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good grab. Right. If you've been liking the Ultimates universe, it's nothing that's gonna make you be like, oh, it might be falling off. Like no, it's still
solid.
Still good.
Okay,
still solid stuff.
All right, moving on to Venom War number 5 again. Regale us because I haven't been reading Venom War.
Culmination of the Venom War, which is pretty funny to me, just because like it's like I don't want to necessarily say like compare it to the Age of Ultron movie because like we know what we feel about that. Yeah, but I kind of felt like it was the Age of Ultron movie because it was like it's Venom War, but it all takes place in like one little area of New York. So I'm all like, okay, how much of a war was this? But it's actually better. On the West Coast. But it's actually better than it. Well, that was just that like one little spot. But like maybe if I actually read like more of the like tie-ins, okay, yes. But for this part, it's like they don't even really mention other things going on. It's just everything in these issues of the main Venom War issues take place in it's not Madison Square Garden, but it's an arena where they were having a wrestling match. And like everything takes place. Oh wait, that's real? Yes.
I thought that was just a variant cover. No. They're actually in a wrestling match.
They were in a wrestling match. Everything still like all the main action still takes place in the ring because like they evacuated the arena. Oh There's no fans in there anymore. But yeah, like everything takes place in the squared circle. Huh. And so
in the octagon.
That's a different sport, bro.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hey, there can be an octagon anywhere, okay?
Kind of. Yeah. There was a wrestling show once that did fight the octagon, but okay, we're gonna get it. All right, get back.
Getting off topic.
I'm gonna give this one. It's a good 4 out of 5 to me.
Yeah. Oh wow, it went up from when we were talking earlier.
Yeah. Just because of the fact that like I think this whole story with it has been done kind of well. Even the fact that like there's so many stuff in here that could get really confusing because, like I've said before in a different video, you have like 4 Eddie Brocks in here. Like you got like a Eddie Brock that is from a discontinued timeline that broke apart, doesn't exist anymore, but somehow he's here. You got like a young Eddie. You got our Eddie Brock, the one that's like the King in Black, and you've got a Eddie Brock that's existing as one of his other symbiotes. You've got his son, and then you've got a version of his son from a different timeline too. So it's like there's a lot of stuff in here that could have been really confusing, but they did it pretty well, and especially wrapped this up pretty well to the point where you're like, okay, even if I was confused, I'm not really confused anymore. Okay.
Like, so it tied it off nicely.
It ties it off nicely. Nice. So there's that. There's the fact that yes, coming up, we're gonna be talking about all new Venom, but you got the first appearance of this new Venom. You got the lead-in to Eddie becoming Carnage, which is not a spoiler because it's been like all over the place. It was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Announced at San Diego Comic-Con that the new Carnage is going to be Venom. It leads into that, kind of telling you why he's going to become that. Stuff happens in here. Well, stuff kind of happens in the last issue that kind of makes that you could see, let you know, like, okay, this is why he would do it, because he straight up gets like stabbed in the back in the last issue. Oh snap! So yes, there's that. But yeah, it's just an all around, like, it's not super great, but it was entertaining. I am not upset that I dedicated, all the time to read
5 months of this stuff.
Like, it was nice. A good 4 out of 5. Solid stuff. We're gonna hear from a good man as to where one of the things it helps lead to right now.
And the first issue that spins out of the conclusion to Venom War is All New Venom #1. Now, first up, the artwork, kind of cartoony, but not in a bad way.
Okay.
All right? Kind of cartoony, not in a bad way. Rick Jones makes his triumphant return. I thought this man was dead.
Can't die, bro.
He's been a Hulk. He's been an Abomination. He's been immortal. And then he was some sort of bird creature at one point, I think, or I might be thinking about
the reason we have the Hulk.
Exactly. He should be mad.
He should be.
He should be mad at that guy.
Like, dang.
But anyway,
kid just couldn't read signs, parking in a desert, chill. Like,
I know,
on.
right? So, getting back to it, where it opens up in a courthouse. Everybody's trying. The people in New York are trying Madame Mask for the gang war tie-in last year, and they're finally getting around to it, and stuff happens. AIM gets involved. All people that could be or maybe not be the title character end up getting separated and leaving the courthouse, right? This Venom isn't the normal Venom. It is obviously the Venom symbiote.
Yes.
Okay, like the symbiote itself, that is Venom, but the host, you don't know who the host is. All right, this might be one of those slow burn things. And even a character in the actual comic comments that it moves a lot like Spider-Man, but then again, every symbiote does that was born from Venom because Spider-Man was on it first, and they're one of those species. The Cleontar, one of those species that
take a little
bit of each host, right? This one right here, the way this Venom speaks and the way it's portraying is moving and stuff like that, it's an all new thing. You don't know who it is, and that's going to be a huge. That seems to be going into it a huge part of the.
Even if you read this one, I'm going to come off for a second. Even if you read this one, you're still not going to know who it is.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this, you don't know who is in Venom.
I am saying it right now. I think it's going to be Robbie Robertson. Okay. I think it's going to be Robbie. J. Jonah Jameson's old right-hand man, Peter Parker's mentor, all that stuff. I think it's going to be Robbie. But that's just my thing. And then like you have other people that could be the symbiote host. It may not even be any of the people that they offer up as possible hosts. I give this one a 3 out of 5 just because I think it could have been done better. I think it could have been executed better. They portray Rick Jones as kind of like this bohemian styled kind of dude, just showing up like kind of like showing up with a win kind of thing. At this point, Rick Jones should be like in his like mid to late 20s, early 30s, and kind of past that since he's been everybody's sidekick from Hulk to friggin' Captain America. Like he should be like a little bit more stern, serious.
Rick Jones.
Maybe the symbiote is kind of like messing with him a bit. You never know. I don't know. But yes, 3 out of 5. I recommend. I give it a positive 3 out of 5. So obviously, like, there's no like crazy stuff going on this week, but or so far. But I recommend it. I mean, if you're a Venom purist or something, you might like it. If you want Venom to get back to the basics of lethal protecting, you might like it. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. 3 out of 5. All new Venom #1. Moving on.
Moving right along.
Yes. I want to go home and watch Muppets now.
I love that movie.
I love that movie.
Drinks on the house.
Bear left. Frog right.
With a fork in the road. Oh, look at
that. Moving on to Image Comics Dread the Halls. This right here is another holiday anthology one-shot, but with a horror twist to it. First off, I'm going to say it right now, this one is a 5 out of 5, just because like all of the stories in there, to me, are enough originals to warrant just being like, wow, I haven't seen this in a while, or I haven't seen this at all, you know, things like that. Opening shot, though, was basically it reminds me of this horror movie, Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls, if you don't remember, was an early 2000s horror movie where main character's family gets killed by the Tooth Fairy, or the legend of the Tooth Fairy, or whatever. This one right here, main character sees her family's souls get stolen by Christmas carolers. We all kind of feel that a little bit sometimes.
That's like a supernatural Doctor Who episode.
Yes, it is. Like, this entire thing is filled with stuff that could be a supernatural episode. Okay, and this one right here, like the first one, no difference, and that's just what I'm going to tell you about the first one. And it's a good little story. The art in each one is very well done. The second one is kind of not really Krampus. They never really name him, but it's what happens when some kids try to nab Santa, but end up capturing his ne'er-do-well brother, I guess. And I use that term loosely because this dude's job he's taken upon himself is to protect his brother. All right. Okay, so like, it's good that they tried to catch him instead of Santa, and then they have like this horror twist to it at the end.
Security. He's got the Rock's job.
No, I mean, the Rock does stuff like put you in jail. Yeah. This dude, I'm not telling you what he does, but oh my gosh, this is like I said, man, or like you said, it's supernatural stuff, and supernatural could get pretty dark.
They even had that one Christmas episode.
Oh, they had like 3 of them.
I know, but the one that I'm thinking of was where they like taking that old family, that old couple.
The old gods. Yeah. That's what it kind of felt like on this one. Yeah, it was a little weird. Then after that, there is another piece where this guy's just going through the woods. He's got no family. And he's lamenting the fact that he's got nowhere to be on Christmas Eve. Well, he gets chased through the woods by some sort of like snow creature, and he stumbles upon a cabin in the middle of a lake that has a spirit that reappears every year on Christmas Eve because she is tied to that place and tied to the monster because the monster killed her.
Oh my gosh, it's the trucker episode from Supernatural.
It's the what?
It's the trucker episode from Supernatural.
Yeah, no, not the trucker episode. It's the one with the girl that plays Bo-Katan. Oh man, I'm spacing out.
I'm saying the trucker episode because it's that one where the girl doesn't know she's dead, and then
that's
okay. We're talking about a trucker.
Okay, we're talking about the same one. We're talking about trucker, but in this one, she knows what she is, and she conveys what she can to whoever passes by. And this is like stuff that she tells the main character. Eventually, like throughout the night, it finds him, and she tries to help people, but they end up, getting killed by the monster anyway. And so it is. I'm not going to tell you guys how it ends because it ends in a very, very good way. All right. Very good way. It's probably the best ending on there. It really is. Even after the last one. But yeah, that one right there is a pretty good ending. Definitely pick it up. Dread the Halls. And there is a 4th story. It's kind of short. It's called Krampus Slayers, and title gives it all away. The Krampus Slayers. So
are they slaying Krampus, or is Krampus slaying them?
No. So they are attempting to slay Krampus. Right. Okay. But yeah, all of the stories in there are very well done. Each one told with a different art style. I mean, and very good. 5 out of 5. Dread the Halls. Moving on to DC's Batman Smells and Robin Laid an Egg.
Sadly, no Batman story in this one, though.
That is true. It is called Batman Smells, and there is
you get a little throwaway to it. I guess they kind of explain why, because there is one story in here where Mrs. Claus says to a Justice League member, "Oh, I'm doing it right now because husband is out doing something with another member of the League." Which is kind of like, oh, that's
right now the Batman Santa Claus thing.
Yeah, the Silent Night thing. Like, okay, yeah.
All right, so
I guess I'll give him a tiny pass for that. The fact that there's no Batman story, but still, I'd rather like to have.
Yeah, that is true. But the first one I thought was a pretty good one. Yes. It's called Santa's Oath, and if you love the Easter egg, yeah, it's Green Lantern. They meet Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
All right,
My favorite Green Lantern, John Stewart.
John Stewart does meet Mrs. Claus after a little bit of lamenting that he's seen alien worlds and all this magic, but it's Christmas time.
Not seen the big guy.
Never seen Santa. Is Santa real? You don't know. Bam, Mrs. Claus right there, and he's like,
touching story.
It actually really is
of how she. Of how she proves to him that Santa is real. Like, oh my gosh, that's a touching story.
It's a story that tells you just because you ask for something doesn't mean that that's what you need at a certain point in your life. Sometimes, Santa may just
it's like
give
Santa
you what
knows
you need.
what you really need.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, oh my gosh,
it was really good. That one was touching. I almost brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, it almost did.
The second story is like they call it Secret Six / Secret Santa.
Yes.
All right, and it's basically Bane's realization of family.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it at there, and it's each page of that story tells him enough about his fellow Secret Six members, the mercenary team that he's paired up with or partnered up with, and his take on each one, and if he would, take a bullet for him or, help him out or anything, and whether or not they are his Secret Santas.
Because he doesn't quite understand how it works, and he's trying to figure out who his Secret Santa is.
And a lot of people don't understand this. Bane is actually just as intelligent as Batman.
He's a very intelligent
guy. He's very calculating. He's very like plotting.
It's just one of the downsides of Venom over the years kind of has made him like lose a slight intelligence. That is like a big thing. Like even in the Batman Beyond cartoons, it's like, oh, he became a vegetable over the years. But other than that, like he is a very smart guy.
He's sharp.
He is sharp.
And like that's one of the things on here. He sees all this stuff. He sees all these things about his coworkers, his mercenary partners, all that stuff, and he still doesn't understand this whole Secret Santa thing. Well, over the course of the short story, he does start to learn a little bit more of it, especially at the end where like the Secret Santas are exchanging gifts and stuff. So definitely a good one right there.
Another little got choked up a little bit there.
Yeah, that one was very, very good. Especially just one panel where he says like a name, and it was like, oh, that's so cool. It's that that's both. It's like it was the happy little enough to make a grown man cry. Yep, but not this man.
Also, kind of helped a little bit too. That I was going back and forth between when I was reading that particular story. I was going back and forth between just a classic Latin American accent guy in my head and Tom Hardy's thing. So some of it's got kind of silly, some of it got kind of
in my head he sounds like Danny Trejo. Okay,
kind of
because Danny Trejo voices him on Young Justice. But I've always thought he would that he back in his prime. That's him, But that's just me though. I read it in Danny Trejo's voice. Next up, you have Constantine's segment. Not really.
I'm saying that one's the weak point of this.
I think so too.
Out of all of the stories in here, that one's the weak one.
Yeah.
Art wise, it was kind of like, whoa. But maybe if you're a Constantine fan, you'll still probably like it because it seems like Constantine.
Constantine.
Because it still seems like from the bit of art and the stories that I know he has, it seems like this story was definitely right up his alley.
Yeah. But
I've never really been a Constantine fan. So maybe that's why it kind of doesn't land too well with us. But maybe with Constantine fans, it actually will.
Yeah, probably. And then after that one, the Joker gets It's a Wonderful Life by the Robin that he supposedly killed.
He unalived.
Yep, that he unalived. And the Joker just gets punked by Damian so hard that he's just gonna end it all. And right before he does so, the spirit of the Robin that he unalived takes him to a world where he never existed, and it is a utopia.
Yeah.
And from there, you can kind of gather what happens because it's Joker, And that one was all right. It was funny. It was entertaining. Deadman had a segment in there where he helped out with a rock slide, and that one kind of got a little teary eyed because of like his efforts to go back and forth to get these people back to their family. Dr. Midnight had a silent segment where there's no dialogue whatsoever, but stumbles upon a crime being committed, follows the guy back to his home. Turns out the guy just needs a break. And Dr. Midnight is actually a doctor in his secret identity, and takes it upon himself to help the man eventually. And it's just a really good story. I place that one right under the Secret Santa one. Yeah, I would. Vixen had a little piece in there. Basically, it's what do you get for your on again off again boyfriend kind of thing, and it's kind of sweet. It's kind of sweet. Yeah. She beats Livewire, and she's all like, hey, "All right, before you pass out, tell me what do I get this guy?" Yeah, I thought that was funny.
It has stuff like that.
And the Superman, it ends on Superman because Superman. Yes. Little gift from the fifth dimension leads to some hilarity and shenanigans ensue. Decent cheesy thing to end on. Clap on.
Yep. I will just say too, because I've read other like big Superman stories, before you find out what's exactly going on with him, I got kind of like, oh my gosh, are we getting kind of dark on this holiday
I
issue?
thought it was going.
I was all like, are we getting All-Star Superman on this? And like,
we already lived through it once.
I'm not gonna say much. I'm just saying, like, if you've read All-Star Superman, you know what happens there. You kind of know once you start reading this and like you get into it and you see what's happening, you'll kind of see why I'm saying it. So for a second there, I was all like, oh my gosh, is this gonna be a freaking like what the heck?
We just saw him die in Superman and Lois. Yes. What the heck?
I was like, what the heck?
Luckily, it's not that. But we won't tell you how it ends
it's a
per se. But I like how he went to a bunch of his rogues gallery, and they were all like, "Dude, stop annoying me," or "Yeah, sure, I'll help you," kind of thing. Yeah. They weren't even like trying to kill him. They were just like, there, they were just like, nah, man, I'm sorry, it's not me.
It's not the best story. I'm putting the Green Lantern story as the best one for me personally. Close second with the Bane one. Like, they're like right there. And I would say this one is like my fourth. The third one being the silent one, the Dr. Midnight one, just because like that one was interesting. The fact that like there's no words. You're just having to like.
You got to go back in and reread it because sometimes once you get to the end, you're like,
at it, see it.
Yeah, you gotta like examine it a couple times. But yeah, I gave this one a 4 out of 5 just because like it had some really good stuff, and like when it was supposed to be emotional, it hit you where it was supposed to hit you.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because I really just like I really like comics like this where it's like, okay, you don't really need to know anything about comics. Anybody can pick it up. You're just reading these characters, that just about everybody knows about. But you're just reading nice little stories about them.
And
I like these issues.
I'm going to say it right now. I'm glad Harley wasn't in here. I don't have anything against Harley Quinn.
Nothing against Harley Quinn.
I'm not a Harley Quinn hater. It's just I think she's oversaturating the market.
Right. Yeah. Right now, there's a lot of. She is kind of getting to that point where people are like.
I think she's almost getting to the point of Deadpool.
Hating her just because, like, she's in everything.
I think she's almost getting to the point of Deadpool right after Deadpool 2 came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for a while, there was a lot of Deadpool stuff, and it was so much that you didn't want to read the character. Especially I did not enjoy the Brian Posehn era.
It's not hating. You need a break.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like anything.
Come up for air.
Too much of something.
Too much of a good thing can lead to some bad times. So, moving on
we get to Comic of the Week.
Comic of the Week. Absolute Superman #2. Yes. The Absolute Universe is still going strong, and I gotta say, this one did not disappoint at all. I will say, out of all the #2s, I think this one is the weakest. Okay. But I still give it a 5 out of 5.
I'm still giving it a 5 out of 5 too. So, I'm gonna say I don't think it's the weakest for me. Honestly, I don't know which one. Like, I mean, obviously, Batman's #2 is still #1. It's going to be very hard
I don't
At
think
least for
anyone
me,
can
I don't
top
see
that
how
one.
they're going to top any of the Batman issues that are coming out. For the first 5 main issues that are coming out for all of them,
Mhm.
I don't really see any of them. Because like the people that are working on Batman, freaking...
They've had years and
They got
years
this.
working with the character and developing new and exciting ways to play with it. These guys are all...
Scott
almost
Snyder's already
under-
amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you can't really... But yes, like this one, I'm not going to say it's better than Wonder Woman. I'm saying it's worse than Wonder Woman, but I like it. Especially because he kind of has like... He's got that like... that Zoom classroom thing going on in this one where, you know, if anybody had Zoom classes,
Oh,
if you
no,
were
that was
in
his
college,
dad.
or that was his dad.
That was his dad.
Him. He
No,
they
no,
said Cal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
They did say Cal.
It was him because, like,
Yeah.
you got to remember, he was still like
That's
he's
right.
like-
he was.
he's like a good grown kid. With
Yeah.
all this.
So like
He had a Zoom session.
Thi-
and
this
he did
one-
what you do on Zoom sessions.
this one like has a bunch of has a few flashbacks in oddly placed
Kind of, yeah.
places. I
It
think
did
it should have
kinda
been
feel-
sandwiched.
It did
You
kind
know
of
what I
feel
mean?
almost Man of Steel like flashbacks.
Yeah.
Where
Like
you
they just didn't
were like,
really
yeah,
need to
some
be
of
there
them
right
felt
there.
out of place
Yeah.
with what was going on.
That's why I think it's on the weaker side because it broke the pacing. But
Okay.
it starts off at the end. It starts off where the first issue ended, obviously, where he's hand chuffed to Agent Lane,
Yes.
and him and his suit are just trying to break
Yeah.
free, and
Trying to get away.
the peacemakers just don't want peace. They just wanna
Yeah.
like take him down, but at the same time, their version of taking him down means she dies, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
They don't really care
So-
if she lives or dies.
So he's over there like, okay, if they don't care if she dies, then I probably don't want her to die. So like while he is trying to get away from her, he is also trying to protect her,
Yes.
which informs more of the character in this new universe.
Yes. It also
show-
shows off a lot of Lois Lane's like intelligence too.
Yeah.
Because some like people on her team are still just like, ugh, kill this man, destroy this alien. But she's like seeing what they're not seeing. She's like,
it takes her a little bit.
Yeah,
it does take her a little bit. So the main
investigative
antagonist
journalist.
entity in here seems to be a group called Lazarus. I don't know whether or not that's going to be throughout the entire Absolute Universe yet, but this one right here seems to want to stamp out non-normals, and Superman in here is a non-normal or a metahuman or whatever they're going to be calling them in the universe. I don't know, but it takes Lois Lane and makes her like a military agent kind of thing.
Yes.
And she just goes from following orders to I just saw this dude save an entire church and I'm supposed to be arresting this guy kind of thing. And maybe that's awakening like a
like her classic investigative journalist type
exactly
thing. She even gets to type it in
yep
this one.
exactly. So this one right here, the artwork is amazing. They have a heli tank.
I just wish they do better on the covers. His
I
face,
don't know.
at least
This,
on the cover.
this cover is pretty good.
the
I
regular
think
covers are
the
pretty good.
regular cover is
These
good,
like variant covers, cool pose, but face is always off.
and it's
weird.
only Superman.
Yeah, why they gotta do my boy like that?
Like even the Jim Lee one on number 1.
Like, come on, Jim.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so this one right here, obviously a 5 out of 5, our comic of the week. You get more backstory on Krypton. You get a little bit of backstory on the suit, the rocket that brought him to the planetary system, whatever. And it's a good, solid story. It keeps it going. The momentum is still there. I'm still excited for this series and where number 3 takes us, and hopefully where Absolute Justice League pops up, maybe in a few months. That's just a rumor.
Like,
It's just a
come on.
rumor. It's a rumor.
It's gotta happen.
It's gonna happen.
Especially with the other members coming. You got Absolute Flash, Absolute Martian,
Oh yeah, and then Absolute Green Lantern.
Absolute GL.
I'm waiting for like Absolute Nightwing.
Me too, bro.
Absolutely.
Especially since I've been seeing the things where he's all like, where the actual writers of, or one of the writers, because I don't think it was Scott Snyder, but like the other writer was talking about it too, where he's all like, oh yes, I have already thought about how, since he's like, things are different in this, he's like, I've already thought like, oh, if Nightwing exists, he doesn't go into it, but he's like, I got this, like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. And I'm like, I'm excited.
Well,
That's my boy.
Another huge thing is that Scott Snyder for Absolute Batman actually came out and said, no, the part 1 through 5 is just the opening arc.
It's like the intro.
And that they are signed on for years. Like their contract is actually extended now that, you know, it's actually one of 2024's top selling comics. Actually, the Absolute line is actually one of 2024's top selling lines in general. But yeah, all of the creators, as long as the books sell well, they're on for years. It's not just going to be opening arcs or anything like that. And there's supposedly working on a crossover with the original timeline. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely pick up Absolute Superman #2. Very good.
Yes.
Still, world building, man. It's so good. The artwork in here is amazing. And you're starting to see cracks in the Peacemaker division. So definitely pick it up. Definitely pick it up. Until next time. Did you have anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I guess I will say, like, I do feel they gotta come in at some point. Like, this whole crossover between both worlds and the Justice League have to be coming together. Their Absolute Justice League, just because of the way that was it DC All In? Was it the special name DC All In?
Yeah.
Just because of the way DC All In is. Like, because of the way that story is, like, come on. It has to. Booster Gold is in this universe somewhere. He trapped somewhere in this universe. So if Darkseid made this universe, it's gotta be the universe that Booster Gold went to. He's in there. They gotta come.
He hasn't been in the Justice League Unlimited.
Because they send him somewhere. And he sees Darkseid. Darkseid made this universe. That's what I've been saying. Into the creation of this, they were like, oh, the Absolute line is a Darkseid created universe. Booster Gold's there. They gotta come get him. They gotta come save my boy. Sean William Scott should play.
Yeah. Dude, Sean William Scott should be Booster.
He should just be somebody.
Yeah.
He gotta be somebody.
He's gotta be somebody. All right, but we're getting off topic. That is
already a long video.
It is huge. Well, dude, we reviewed a lot, and a lot of it had anthology.
Had some asides too, you know, had some sidebars.
All right, guys. We will see you guys next time. If you like the Rantings Ravings with Two Madmen, give us a like, follow, share us with your friends, and, you know, check out our socials that we're going to be putting in the descriptions and whatnot. And we will see you guys next time. Later.